Hey everyone, I'm Sam Clark with Crimson Education, and on today's episode of Ask Sam Anything, I'm going to continue answering a question that I've received many times via email and in YouTube comments, which is what is my favorite Common App essay topic that I've heard. In our Big Question series, which you can watch in the link in the description below, I've been to over 50 colleges and talked to over 400 students, and I've asked them, what did you write your Common App personal statement about? And they've told me. And from that, I have some answers for which ones are some of my favorites. Today, we are doing a trio of New York schools, which is gonna be NYU, Columbia, and Barnard. Roll credits. Boop. So first is NYU, New York University, which doesn't really have a campus per se. So when we filmed Big Questions at NYU, which we did twice, we just kind of wandered around the city and near some NYU buildings, but we still got some really great responses from students talking about what they wrote for their application essays to get in. One of my favorites was a student who wrote about how he loves to cook and how his favorite dish that he used to cook growing up was spaghetti bolognese. And I think he used that to sort of talk about, you know, how cooking was both an escape for him, but also something that was exhilarating for him, and he connected spaghetti bolognese to his family and his identity as well. So I think that's a really good way of talking about the way that he thinks, the way that he relaxes, and his background, his identity, his family, but through a very specific lens, which was cooking and spaghetti bolognese. And wow, I'm so hungry now. Another student talked to me about writing her personal statement about her background, her identity, and her culture. She was born and raised in Mexico, immigrated to the United States, and went to a high school where she was the only student who was of Mexican descent. And she talked about dealing with misconceptions, dealing with racism, and how that shaped who she is now and how she views the world, and how she wants to view the world in the future, and how she wants to expand her horizons and help other people to do the same. And the third one that I really liked from both of our videos at NYU was a student who said that he wrote about watching Singin' in the Rain, the movie, as a kid. And he wrote specifically about the song Make 'Em Laugh, which was a song that got him through some very difficult times in his family when his father was dealing with sickness and through other struggles. So I think that's another good example of, you know, he used the essay to talk about his family, about struggles that he's been through, but he viewed it all through a very specific and small lens, which was the movie Singin' in the Rain. And that tells you a lot about his personality, what he likes to do, the fact that he likes to sing, likes musical theater. It really opens up a lot while talking about something very specific. We filmed Big Questions twice at Columbia, just like we did at NYU. It was a little bit easier because we could actually be on a campus. And we heard some really good answers from students about what they wrote their Common App essays about. One student talked about the fact that he is from a small village in coastal China, and his grandfather was a carpenter, and building things with his grandfather growing up sort of shaped in a not per se academic way, but shaped his love for engineering, and he's going to Columbia for engineering. So that was a way of him talking about a very academic pursuit and about why he wants to study at a top engineering school like Columbia, and why he wants to pursue engineering as a career, but connecting it to his family and connecting it to something a little bit smaller, and how he built stuff with his grandfather. That's cool. Another student was a graduate student, so she wrote a different type of personal statement, since grad school applications are obviously a little bit different. She's in the grad school of actuarial sciences, so she had to write about like why she wanted to study in her program. So she talked about how she fell in love with actuarial sciences in undergrad, and how she specifically wanted to go to Columbia because of the more collaborative environment that they have in their actuarial sciences program. Actuarial sciences is of course something that I know what it is, and the definition is here in text that our editor is going to put here. That's what actuarial sciences are, and I knew that. Third essay that I really liked at Columbia was a student who told us that he was French, grew up in France, but went to an American high school, and how learning about French history through an American lens and learning about American history through a French lens helped him sort of understand and unpack different parts of both countries' histories that maybe he found to be troubling or problematic or intriguing. So I think that was really a cool way of sort of unpacking something more academic, but through a personal way and talking about how he grew. A third New York school is, of course, Barnard College, which is associated with Columbia University. It's an all-women's college basically directly across the street. We got a wide range of answers from Barnard students talking both about their Common App personal statements, but also some of the more specific Barnard application questions. One student who was talking more broadly about the Common App talked about her experience going to a religious prep school and how that changed both her perspectives on religion and on academia. Another student talked about her experience being an introvert and the fact that the college application process as it stands now felt antithetical to her as an introvert, sharing deeply personal things about herself, which I think can be very true for people who are introverted, but she used that as a way of talking about her perspective, both about college and about how she shares, how she experiences the world as someone who's more introverted. And then at the end, she spun it to talk about how that's a reason why she wants to go to a school and community specifically like Barnard. Two more students talked specifically about a Barnard College application question, which was, if you could meet any woman in history, who would you meet and why? One student talked about wanting to meet Pauline Noor, who was a UK artist who explored through painting femininity, what it means to be a woman, women and their demons, and how that sort of helped her redefine her own conception of femininity. Another student answering the same prompt talked about an Italian Baroque artist who in her words was super kick-ass, who inspired her to do super kick-ass things in her own life. So that has been Ask Sam Anything part, I'm gonna say 7, which might be true. My editor will correct me right here if I'm wrong. I think it's part 7. Again, talking about my favorite Common App essays that I've heard from the 50 schools that we've been to and we've filmed at. Obviously, I think these can help you a lot to find threads through all of these topics to help relate those topics or those approaches to a topic that really matters to you. But there's no one end-all be-all guideline for how to write your Common App essay or your other application essays. So if you want a little bit more assistance with it, if you want to talk to someone about it, you can click another link in the description below to talk with a Crimson academic expert who can tell you a lot more than I can about Common App essay topics that might work well for you specifically to get into the school of your dreams. So do that. Also like the video. Also subscribe to Crimson Education. Click the little bell icon next to the subscribe button so that you get a notification every time we post a new video. I'm Sam Clark with Crimson Education, and I'll catch you next time.